No.
All right.
Hello, football family. Welcome into Huddle It Up Films. No intro today. Your boy is off his game. Off his game. So yeah, surprise. Hi, Alec. How are you today? Hello to everyone for joining us. No theme song today, Alec.
I can't do the show without the theme song. All right, Cosmonaut, can you start playing the song? What's going on here? I see you in the comments.
Yeah, Cosmo can play the theme song. So there goes my opening tonight. Stuff happens. I hit the wrong button, but I can bring the members up. This is usually when I bring the members up. So let's go ahead and do that. Alec, how are you doing? I called Alec before the show because I was having technical difficulties, which is part of the reason I'm all thrown off right now. And I bothered him while he was putting his daughter to bed. So I'm the bad
Yeah,
guy tonight.
yeah, I wouldn't call it a bad guy, dude. Not much. Can I just shill a few products real quick?
Go ahead.
Am I allowed to do this? All right, guys. So I don't use the M word often, but this album here called Woodcut by Big Big Train, masterpiece. Highly recommend. And I haven't listened to it yet, but I hear this is really good too. Pink Floyd at Pompeii. So it's a beautiful time for music, folks. All right. And I'm just so stoked. But, I'm not going to listen tonight because I'm going to hear with you guys talking to Jason about some football. But yeah, I just want to talk about what I've been up to. Yeah, I missed last week. Sorry about that, guys. I saw in the comments. Apologize.
Yeah, you
Sometimes
got
you
some
gotta,
explaining to do to Chris.
yeah, I know.
Chris, yeah.
I let Chris down. And I don't know. I'm gonna have to work all year to get back on top from that. That's tough.
Got to coach it better. Got to call it better.
Gotta call it
Got to
better.
practice. Got to practice it better. But yeah, I want to say hi to Ashley first in. Hey Jason, and of course, hey Alec is coming there too. Mister Zaratniak. Hey Jason. Hey Ashley. Hey Alec. Cosmonaut Project backstage on Huddle It Up. Who was backstage on Huddle It Up? Maybe Cosmo had a sense that something weird was happening. Yeah, I got all crossed up, man. I got 1,000 topic bars for tonight because that press
That's what I hear.
conference today. Yeah, that press conference today was just chock
Well,
full of stuff.
we had that, and I thought there was some good stuff from the two coordinator interviews that the lounge did. A lot of good stuff coming out of Ravens camp. And man, I'll just say this off the top. I'm so stoked for this coaching staff. Like, they got a lot of leash from me at this point. I'm really excited to see what happens here. I think we got a really great up and coming staff.
Me too. Me too. Can't wait to dive in. Work wifey here, Chris. Nice picture. Looking good. Got the red lipstick. Loving it. Dario, yo. Good evening, Jason. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hey, Mr. Katz in the building. 20 eyes. What's up, Jim? Good seeing you in here, bud. Let's make sure we don't miss anybody. Oh, hey, spilling the tea. Miss Tila. Somebody is snitching in the comment section, apparently. Yes, Alec is back. So, Chris, she's not lying when she says she misses you.
I know. Hey, it honestly is kind of cool coming on your show, Jason, this community that you've built, because, I did a show for a while. We didn't do lives. So, like, we didn't have this interaction. And it's really neat, every week when we come on to get to talk to the people, get some regulars, it is really cool.
Yeah, and look at the work wifey staying on Sheila for being absent last week. She almost missed the night too. Chris, stay on them, and we have got to find a way to figure out how to add moderators here. Hey, Grandma is in the house. Hey, Jason, hi fam, love you, Linda. Thanks for all the comments on the highlight videos. Highlight season is over, so that's awesome. Hey, great news here. Taurus got his purple tee.
Hey,
I have Taurus in the house. Hopefully you can spot it on the screen on one of the streams and invite me on. I'd be more than happy. I'd be honored to go on with Mr. Taurus. That sounds real fun. Oh, and Tracy in the house, top knot. Good evening, Jason and Alec, of course. Laid back, Big Al. See, oh man, it's just like to your point, Alec. It's just great to see everybody in here. Romy Raven, new pick. First time I saw a new pick from Romy Raven. Romy Raven, used to the head down with the hat on, but Romy Raven showing her face there, Alec. So that's really nice.
Nice.
Let's see. Okay, so I feel like we're all caught up. Where to start though, Alec? My goodness, what a presser! I want to start with the guy I feel like I was most impressed with man, Declan Doyle he's kind of a dude, isn't he? Like, I came away so impressed this press conference with Declan Doyle that I was like, man, we didn't hire him for a head coach. My goodness.
Yeah. I get what you're saying there. I'm not worried. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm cool with the choice of Minter here. Like, I'm not like re-legislating that, but you know, if anyone's here for just a hot minute, I mean, I think both these coordinators are very much positioned to be here just for a hot minute. But Declan, man, he strikes me as someone who knows what he wants. You know what I mean? He was talking about like, oh, when I was quality control, I was calling 4 drives because I didn't have much opportunity, you know, to like do that. And I know I wanted to do that one day. And I feel like he's been prepping for this whole life. It's kind of weird. Like, you know, you don't think of football coaches sometimes as like, I don't know, like they spent their whole life trying to get there. Like, obviously they've been in it for a while, but like, it seems like this guy has been wanting to be a football coach since like, I don't even know when, you know what I mean? And he never like, it sounds like he didn't really play, you know, and he just like always was on the coaching side. It's cool, man. He has confidence to him. I can get why he like, you know, won an interview, right? And I'm stoked. I think he has some good fundamental temples. One of the things I noticed with all these coaches, Weaver to the least extent, but not like in a bad way, is they're all just like, these are our temples. They're like, it seem very aligned about like, there's a lot of conversation about like how football is meant to be played. You know, I don't know exactly what that means, but I have hunches, you know, and
Right.
it's just like, I don't know, man. I just get the vibe that we have like very competent people. And I was telling somebody I worked with this today, and like, you can get at me in the comments if you want, but like it makes me so happy to see this younger generation that had a chance to like grow up in like the modern NFL world, you know, experience like playing Madden. Like I'll keep bringing it up. Like I feel like these guys are like way more entrenched in the game theory of the game than like the old school guys. And like, I don't know, that just gets me super fired up. Like I think it's going to give us an edge. I really do. And, yeah, I'm definitely keen to see. I'm not going to try to steal any thunder too with some of these pool quotes. I kind of ideas of what you have coming, but yeah, I'm just really keen to see what these guys are up to because like it just sounds so much more. There seems to be a renewed sense of urgency and like talking about the goal out loud of like championship football and not being afraid to talk about it and just like a focus that's like we're not talking about like, you know, leading men, this, that, and the third. They're talking about winning games and like championships. I don't know. They just seem like so laser focused on the prize right now. And I kind of like that.
Okay, sorry you finished because you rambled for like 3 minutes there.
I'm sorry, dude.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I'm excited.
You have every right to be excited, man. I'm on the same page. First things first, though, I have to say hi to the head VP. And you know, if this is any indication of how off my game I am to start tonight. That's it right here. That's it right here. So I deserve all the
Straight to jail.
backlash
That's why I
I may or may
minutes.
not be you know, getting in the chat there. See, yeah, love you guys so much. It's so funny, man. You guys hold me accountable. Zhang is late, but she is here. And my guy, Mike M. So this is where y'all went. Yeah, that's right, Mike. They're over here. I don't know where they were. Maybe they're with my buddy Sutton. Sutton goes on every day, though. You get to hear from Sutton every day. You can come over there. You can tell Sutton I said that because Sutton loves you, and I love Sutton. So, look, first thing I want to hit on is what Minter said about Declan Doyle. He's a connector, a collaborator. He's creative. We see football the same way. You know, we've heard the connector part, the collaborator part, the creativity part. It's been like a main staple every time we've heard Minter. He uses those terms. But I found it interesting that we see football the same way. So in other words, you know, what defenses or offenses that he doesn't like to face, what are they looking for? You know, to me, it's a lot in the eyes, the preparation, the fact that how they want to practice, all that stuff. But I did find it interesting that he mentioned specifically that he and Declan Doyle and Minter see football the same way, coming from Coach Jesse Minter.
Yeah, I find that exciting too. And I think one thing that's kind of cool that is underrated sometimes with football people is like offensive coordinators are sometimes the best people to talk about defense, and similarly defensive coordinators about offense, because that's what they're trying to game plan against all the time, right? They're trying to dissect it and figure out how to beat it so they can be when you talk about saying both sides of the football the same way, I'm sure those guys are talking about like what they hate to see, like you were saying, like what they hate to see, where the game's going, what makes things tricky. And if they're like, I, hate exotic blitzes, and Minter's like, yo, I love dialing those up, and like, I don't know. It just,
and when you're having success with it, I like to do this. Well, yeah, when you do that, then I like to do this, but I'm going to see if you're going to do that. And like just taking it levels there, Alec, to back up what you're saying. Like, yeah, dude, like educated football conversations about, mugging the A gap and all that. They see it the same way, and they're trying to counter each other in this new age of football.
Yeah, I think they just seem both him and it's funny, right? Like I feel like the best way to put it, and maybe it's because they like were former players too, but it's like I feel like Minter and Declan are like of a pair. And it's not about race, but I'm now realizing it's all about race. But like also like then you have like the team guys, like Weaver is like such a like great like leader and communicator. And I'm not trying to take anything about his X's and O's, but he's been there, he's been a player. And same thing with CoCap. I just think like it's kind of cool to have both those things on the coaching staff and how they kind of play off each other.
Right.
I think it's gonna be really solid.
Yeah, and another thing that Doyle mentioned, we're going to spend a lot of time on Doyle, and then we're going to go to the other coordinators, Anthony Weaver, Anthony Levine, two Anthonys, by the way, and then Coach Jesse Minter had some stuff to say. They all call him Jesse, by the way, and not like Coach or like we're used to Harbs or like Mintz or something. He's just Jesse. Doyle's vision for the offense. This came in both the interview that he did on the Lounge with Garrett Downing and Hall of Famer Clifton Brown, and today. The three non-negotiables on offense for Declan Doyle: physical, detailed, explosive. And, it makes sense. You have to be physical. The detail to me is very clear. He wants this thing to run like a well-oiled machine, and explosive. And just to let you know what kind of imprint, like this 29-year-old man is not scared, Declan Doyle. He's going up there talking about stripping this down to the studs and rebuilding around our personnel. He's not sitting up there, Alec, talking about, hey, we have good players, we have good talent, I'm going to add to it. We're going to build on what we're doing. We're going to keep Greg Roman's run scheme, all that other stuff that we've seen. We're going to keep parts of this and parts of that. He wants to strip it down to the studs and rebuild it around our personnel. And what that tells me is, number one, Declan Doyle has some cojones, and he's not afraid to say what he's going to say. And number two, he sees areas for opportunity here to rebuild this thing in his image. Like, this is not a Harbaugh spinoff, a Monken spinoff, anything like that. This is Declan Doyle's show.
That was very clear. Two things I wanted to cover. I'll follow up on this and then I'll bring up another point. So one thing that he didn't pull any punches about his personnel too. Like if they already talked about like, oh, the coaching staff was afraid of Lamar and like coddling him and handling, or whatever, and like being nice. I mean, he was extremely direct about like what kind of communications he's had with Lamar so far, what he expects, and OTAs and things of that nature. And I did really enjoy this like confidence to say, yeah, we're stripping it down to the studs, like, and also some of the conversations he had about where they can improve. He was saying, he said very clearly, like, I think that the called plays could be better, right? Like the first 2 seconds of the play, 2.5 seconds of the play before it goes in the scramble could be tighter. And he was like, this is like the things that I think like Lamar can improve on. And like, he's not pulling punches. And that's something that people said positively about Jesse too, is that he's a guy that like, when it came time for business, he'll tell you what you're doing wrong. And he'll tell you like where you can improve. And he coaches hard. And I think like what obviously I'm not an NFL player, but like it seems to me the consensus is, at least the way they'll preach what they think they're comfortable at, but like they're saying that NFL players these days really just want great coaching so that they can succeed, get paid well, like do well and everything. And it sounds like they care less about like these like crazy leaders and like, charisma guys. They're just like help me be the best of football I can be, and I'll respect you because of that, and like, right. That's a cool thing, because I feel like we haven't had that in a while.
Right. The players loved Harb. They respected Harbs. Harbs was straight up with them. Harbs, main quality for better and worse was loyalty. It's not that. It's that you can just see that these guys,
Yeah.
that hunger is there and that accountability is there, and they feel like, to Declan's point, you give players the knowledge, you give players the tools in which to get better, to make money, to win games. That's what they appreciate, and that's
Yeah.
really what all the greats want to be coached. Any great that I've ever heard talks about how they like being coached. They don't like to be coddled. I mean, I guess there are some exceptions, but the best of the best usually want to be coached hard. But yes, stripping it down to the studs and rebuilding around our personnel. And talk about another thing. Now, I don't know if this is like standard across the NFL, or this is a Sean Payton thing, or a Ben Johnson thing, or what it was, but it caught my attention. It makes me feel like I'm back in the corporate world in a shirt and tie, and it's time for my yearly review or whatever.
Yeah,
But
the
Doyle
nerds are
said,
back.
the nerds are back, man. He said the staff, and he said, I assume the defense is doing this as well, has made action plans for each player. This was kind of like asked him about Lamar type thing, but of course he answered it, and like, it's not just Lamar, it's for each player. Action plans for each player, 3 different areas that they're going to get better at. Not
Right.
that we want to improve, not that we're striving to improve, not that we'd like to see them try. 3 different areas that they're going to get better at, Alec, coming from Declan Doyle again. I think somebody mentioned it earlier. Maybe it was Tila. Did he smile? I mean, yeah, he seems personable and all. It's not like he came off like unlikable or anything, but he's not a happy-faced man. Like Weaver was up there smiling, just appreciating he was being back. Declan Doyle gave me some intelligent, like his mind works fast. He's got some of that like psycho qualities that I love, and I say it as a compliment. A football psycho,
right?
a football psycho.
Yeah, complimentary. I just want to say, chat, I see you, and like I definitely want to talk about Anthony Levine as well, and some of the stuff that went on in the presser. I'm trying to respect the format here that we got going on with Jason, but yeah, we'll definitely talk about how he was handled during this press conference, and like special teams might be the least significant, so to speak, of the coordinators, but I didn't like the way they kind of handled Anthony. But anyways, yeah. So, man, like you said, man, Declan, he comes in, like you said, just full of confidence. He strikes me as, based on like kind of the reputation that he's had so far and everything, is like he is the shit and he knows it.
Right.
He definitely feels like he's well aware that he's good at his job. He has that confidence about him. I just hope the only thing that I struggle with that like personality archetype is like, how will he respond when he has a setback, right? When he gets punched in the mouth, how is he going to respond? That's the only thing. Like,
maybe we can go back and look at the Bears and look at when they struggled. Like maybe they had a 2 or 3 week stretch where they weren't scoring points. And Chicago's a major media, major city, huge city. So maybe their media is, more like New York's or Philly's and less like ours. So yeah, that's maybe some homework we could do. How does he gel with Lamar? How does he gel with the media? How is he in the meeting rooms? Does he get extra prickly? But he definitely he wants things his own way, and he just looked like a head coach. Now, people will make a big deal. I know they're going to do this, family. They're going to use this quote, this little section I'm about to play, as Lamar clickbait. They're going to make titles in all caps, Alec, about how Declan Doyle's calling out Lamar and this, that, and the other thing. You know how the YouTube game works. You know how the major networks work. There's going to be tweets and everything about how Lamar is being called out by his new OC. So I just wanted you to hear it. Lamar was not being called out by his new OC. It was a general question, and I'll let you hear the reporter's question. I got it teed up. I'm about to share the screen. And he was just basically being asked about attendance for all these off-season programs that are about to come up, starting on April 6th. But all the voluntary OTAs and all that's coming up. And I'll let you hear the question that was asked to Doyle and how he responded, because, this is what's going to be used as clickbait. And there's going to be a lot of cutout. So I just want you guys to hear the 1 minute response for yourself so you can judge.
Declan, you mentioned that sprint to April 6th, and then obviously a month after that, you guys started OTAs. You talked about how a lot of this offense will be new. What are your expectations for attendance, considering just how much is being built here from players, considering it's voluntary?
Yeah, we would expect them to be here, and certainly it is voluntary. And so, but it's also, you know, if you want to say that you're going to win a championship, you want to say that you have championship standards and those are your goals and your expectations. Certainly that's going to take work. That's going to take collaboration. That's going to take the beginning of building the relationship with their coaches, other players, you know, starting off this next regime on the right foot. And so that would be those guys getting in here, us being able to work with them hands-on and be able to kind of get this thing going in the direction that we want to, and you know, making improvements so that we set ourselves up where when we come back in for training camp, we hit the ground running. We already have kind of shared knowledge, shared language, and we're able to go right to work.
And just like that, the two more got called. They did seem like in a hurry. Yeah, I saw people in the comments. They did cut Anthony Levine off in the middle of what he was trying to say. And that was, yeah, that kind of made me mad. But I love how Declan Doyle threw in the obligatory. Yes, they are voluntary for like just that much amount of time, and then went to preach. Alec, you say you want to win a Super Bowl, right? Every time I talk to you, that's what you say. Well, if you're really serious, then you will be here as we install this offense. Notice, by the way, Lamar Jackson's name wasn't mentioned in the question or the response, even though it seems like everybody's going to phrase this as, will Lamar show up to off-season programs? But yeah, just that championship mindset of like, hey, we're going to hold you accountable to your own goals. You know, you say you want to be a champion, you want to be a starter, Alec, then you better get up here. You know what I mean? You want to make this roster, you better get up here for these OTAs. And I like the response. Again, just a very serious minded person. And he like balances that, like, I know what I'm talking about. I expect you to do it. And it's nothing personal, man. You know, we'll have time for laughs and smiles later, but it's business time.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I'm not too worried about Lamar showing up for OTAs for what it's worth. He's been around most of the OTAs in the past. Like, I feel like it's a little overblown. Usually, like, he'll miss like the first day and then he'll be back like there for the second day. And like, I don't know. Like, I'm not too worried about it. And I think honestly, like, I don't know. It's just like it was the same old for these guys, some of these vets. Now it's a new regime, like he said. I think now it's going to be if there's ever a time to be there, you know, it's when you don't have stability from every single coach, right? Last year they had stability. They acted like they took the, you know, preseason stuff a little too light. I don't think it's going to be like that after all the disappointment of last year and all those new coaches. I think that people are like going to just be naturally motivated to show up. It's not even like a question of like previous work ethic. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. I will say though, you know, honestly, if some of these bigger like leaders don't show up, I will look at it very negatively, particularly this year, because it's like, man, like this is all new stuff. Like, you know, like that's just like you said, it's not taking it seriously. So I will look at it negatively. Like I think if any year you don't show up is this year, and or like, you know, that'll be a real big red mark in my opinion, even if those voluntary. Like, get with the program, guys. Like, like I don't know, you know, you didn't earn it. you didn't earn it, and the whole team is overturned now because of it. So get your
and just, you know, just for the record, when Monken was brought in 2023, the attendance was nearly perfect for the voluntary session, including Lamar. So again, it's just another way people use Lamar's name for clicks. So I felt it important, if anybody didn't catch the press conference, that they just hear what the question and answer was. It was very, very harmless, but also to the point with Mr. Doyle saying, yeah, hey, I'm going to hold you accountable to your goals. He did speak on Lamar. And again, he's not afraid to say, you know, what he sees, what Lamar has done, what he has talked to Lamar. You didn't hear some of that stuff, Alec, like, well, I'm going to keep that to ourselves. Heard that a lot under Harbaugh and his staff, like the whole walking on eggshells. And we really, really don't want to talk about Lamar. And again, it's like, I feel like Lamar in his heart of hearts, I have no way of knowing, but he gets like treated differently than anybody else in like the media to like where his coaches are. I feel like Lamar at times just wants to be coached like everybody else and wants to be one of the guys. So,
Yeah.
if you're asked a question on Lamar, stop worrying about hurting his feelings and rubbing him the wrong way and just treat him like a man. That's kind of the impression I get. Like if I was Lamar, that's how I feel. But Declan had to say about Lamar, loved his willingness to listen, his hunger to learn, his hunger to grow, and he's a guy with a growth mindset. So, and I thought that this, just to continue on, how can Lamar improve? He said that first play can be more consistent at times with his eyes, with his footwork, within the system. And then he also said that while he's watching these things on tape, and yes, he's talked with Lamar a bunch of times, there's nothing like being able to sit down with the player, Alec, and talk about how those plays were being coached. Where were your eyes supposed to be, Alec? Where were you? What was your first read here? And if the defense was playing cover 2, were you supposed to look here first? If they were playing man, were you supposed to go here first? Where were you supposed to do? Where was your outlet? All that other stuff. So basically, like, he can see what he sees on tape, but there's like, I can infer a lot from the tape, but it's different from sitting down with Lamar Jackson and figuring out why that looked wrong. Why did that look wrong, Lamar? Did somebody run the wrong route? Was this something you guys didn't practice enough? So, basically Declan Doyle saying, look, Lamar's going to have to put on his Superman cape. He used that word today. But where he feels like Lamar can improve, and it's not just Lamar, it's the whole team, is to put him in a position where he can be more consistent with that first play. At basically like Lamar scrambling is the second play. So that play call, being more consistent with the play call, with his eyes and with his footwork within the system. That's what he wanted from Lamar. I found that just a refreshing comment on Lamar, and I feel like Lamar's going to love it.
Yeah. I think too, like the big focus is, and I'm not saying that I think Monken felt similarly, but just the way they talk about it is different. I think if do right, they never get to scramble, right? Obviously, sometimes the defense messes things up, and like then he called it the eraser. Then he can right the wrongs essentially of a play call or of bad execution with scramble. But yeah, I think he just wants to keep the offense on schedule. He talked about breather plays, like something that I feel like we've been talking about forever. Is like nice, like balance to the team. I think yeah, I just think that all made sense to me. And yeah, I don't know, man. I just so it's just refreshing. I don't know. The way I guess, like, sometimes you listen to a press conference, right? And you're like, okay, all right, whatever. This one I was like, good answer. It was like a Family Feud. I was like, I like what I'm hearing, yeah.
I mean, like, for me, a lot of what Minter said was kind of canned. A lot of what Weaver said was kind of canned, and I expected it. But it was the Declan Doyle, like, answering the reporters' questions so honestly was like the most refreshing thing. Maybe that's because I know Anthony Weaver a lot. And today Minter was in that executive role, and he was re-answering a lot of questions. Heather does have a question of her own. Jason and Alec, what prospects have you looked at or could you see fit with the team? Heather, I've looked at I do a first review of them where I watch 2 or 3 games, and I'm finished about 75 players on that. I'm trying to get everybody before the combine. Have a lot of ideas on team fit, a lot of ideas at 14, but there will be more shows. By the way, I'm working on a cut up of Vega Wane, the left guard prospect, that there's big discussion on whether he fits or not. The college film, if you guys notice, it's really hard to put. Coach DC lost his channel for putting college film on it. So I might have to start like a Discord or something to put the college film on, and something that I can kind of keep private, let the members see. So that's something that's going to be coming up. But yes, doing the homework. The big board will be out about a week after the combine. So let me get that measurements in them 40 times to break some ties and just seeing how they look in the field drill. Alec will tell you, I don't really care about the 40 times. I want to see how they look, how they move. I remember when Alec and I were watching the draft when Christian Gonzalez did his field drills. And we didn't even say anything. Christian Gonzalez did his back pedal hip turn, and went down the field. And me and Alec looked at each other like, did you see that? That didn't look like any of the other guys. So that's what the combine is for me, Heather, and everybody else. It's not about the 40 times. You can read them off the chart. It's watching these guys move and watching how they, the kind of natural athlete. Is that 40 time deceiving? Does it match the play speed? Does it not? So, man, a ton of thoughts on the draft, Heather. They'll be coming up. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hips don't lie.
Yeah, man, the hips don't lie. Hips never lie, right, Chris? Hips never lie. Yeah, but that Vega Owane is going to be a good cut up. You guys will get a really good feel for what he can do. But yeah, so Declan Doyle spelling it out. His best way of helping Lamar, he can't help Lamar scramble and do Lamar magic. No coach can help that. The only thing he had to say on that, Alec, was when things do break down and my first play fails, to make sure the spacing of the receivers is right when they go into scramble mode. So, they are going to practice scramble mode from a receiver's perspective to make sure they're not in the same area. So he is thinking about that.
For sure. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing how this is all coached up. This is like the most, obviously when he said stripping down the studs, but it just feels like this is going to be the most like change we've seen in the Lamar era as far as how the offense is going to be executed, because Monkey was very clear that he kept the run game around. And I'm not saying that, Declan's going to just, we'll never see those run plays again. Like, come on. Like a lot of things are very similar.
That's right.
But yeah, I think it is going to be a little bit refreshing. It does seem it's going to be different. And I think one big thing too is like when they talk about the verbiage and the terminology, that stuff doesn't really matter. That it is important that, you're all speaking the same language, because people do use different words for the same thing, and just making sure that it's getting taught well. And also about prospects, it's February, so I don't do that. I kind of have a strict no football cleanse at the end of February, and then I get back into everything. Not like completely no football, but I don't start prospects until March. That's just how
I have to get on him for that. But yes.
Yeah, he sent me some videos of Mr. Lemon and Emmett Johnson, and I still have to watch them. But no, I'll get on the horse soon. I'm taking a little bit of a breather. All right.
Crappy running back class, by the way. I think Justice Hill might be safe for another year.
I've heard that for fantasy too. So it's just not. It's not really the year for that, which is a little disappointing given the makeup of the team. But
it's rare too. I mean, Alec, usually I got 25 running backs, and about 10 of them all look the same. And at the end of the board, and I'm wondering which ones do I put on the board? Which ones I'll put Keaton Mitchell on my board. I was one of the only people that had Keaton Mitchell in the top 150. And you see what kind of a talent he is. This year is not like that. There's not going to be an undrafted Keaton Mitchell.
I think
not somebody
about Justice Hill, just like a quick aside. I think he's 100% going to get cut if they don't restructure the contract, but they might get restructured the contract. So that's
gotcha.
I think on that. Yeah, I think that's I think it's a little too spendy to keep around at the price, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I speculate it depends what they think of Ali in that third down role, because Derrick Henry does need breaks. He does need breaks. He doesn't need to come out every third down, but he does need breaks. Last thing on Declan Doyle before we switch to Coach Weaver is that, he was asked about his age again. And I love this answer. You could tell he had this answer prepared. He's probably was asked about it in any kind of interview he's ever had. He said, "This is going to be my 11th year in coaching. I've always been too young for every job I've ever had." Now, I was once a young supervisor. Everybody that worked for me was pretty much older than me. I came in young, hot shot, got promoted. So I can relate to that, man. He's like, yeah, every job I've ever had, I've been too young for. And then they asked him about his prep and how he's prepping to call plays. And I thought that this was really, really interesting, Alex. So since he got in the NFL, since 2019, he said, every game I've been a part of in the NFL, I go out 3 hours early, meaning before the game, walk the field, and basically simulate 4 drives. So when he's doing that, Alec, he's thinking about the scripted plays. He's thinking about what happens if those scripted plays work. How is he going to adjust? What plays is he going to call if it's working? What plays are he going to call off this set of plays if it's not working? And basically, like trying to take the game through. Basically, that would take him through most of the first half, I would think. you're talking about the first 4 drives, the team gets 9, 10 drives of the game. So, hey, if this isn't working, I'm going to call this next. If that is working, I'm going to try to build off of it by doing that, see if I can get them to do this, then do that. So, Declan Doyle has been playing out entire halves of play calling before the game. I would say my main concern with Declan Doyle being a first time play caller is to keep the verbiage simple, because we saw a major difference between Greg Roman and Todd Monken when it came to hurrying up to the line of scrimmage. Alec, remember in the chat, all the struggles we had. They were trying to blame Lamar for getting out of the huddle late and all that other crap. No, it just turned out that Greg Roman was too slow getting the play call to Lamar, and the verbiage may have just been too much. Todd Monken came in, and we didn't have those problems from the jump, man. It was a very on-time type offense, very well-timed. No delay of game penalties, no having to burn timeouts. I'm not saying it didn't happen at all, but there was a night and day difference. So my question with Declan, what I'll be looking for, are we getting out the huddle on time? You know what I mean? Are we getting them play calls in on time? And he said that he is going to toy Alec with being on the field calling plays and being in the booth calling plays, which is that's my last thing on Declan Doyle before we can move to Coach Weaver. But yeah, man, simulating games, bro. Simulating games before the game, thinking about what he's going to do if this happens, if that happens. I just worry about him getting those play calls out on time. That's my main concern with a first-time play caller.
That's a good good call out about the timing to the huddle. I'm a real stickler for that too. I feel like you gotta get there. You gotta have time to do a motion. You have to have time to adjust to what you're seeing from the defense. I did want to bring it up too, and I'm glad you did, about experimenting with on the sideline and in the booth. I'm very curious to see how that plays out. Is it like every other game? Is there like 2 games? Like I'm genuinely just like home away splits. Like honestly, like all these things are kind of interesting to me. I imagine that they'll do all the above. They won't alternate unless there's a home and away. Like I think he'll do like back to back, maybe if it's like a home away, and then if it's home they'll alternate. That's my guess until he like figures out where he wants to be. But hoping sideline. That's my
Me too.
That's my hunch right now, which is not what I used to think, by the way. But I changed my opinion on that when I learned to worry about how the boosts work. But anyways,
yeah,
I'm stoked. I think he'll be just fine, and maybe more than fine, obviously. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried about the youngness at all at this point. I think the biggest thing I'm worried about is the first time play caller part, which is like, a byproduct of being young. But the way he's quickly erasing those fears, just like the way he's been communicating. So we'll see.
We will see. We will see. And man, the comments are lighting up tonight. Love seeing it. It looks like Ryan from the Flock Rundown has gifted a membership. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you very much. And if you have not subscribed to Ryan's channel, what are you doing? His production is off the charts. Love Ryan, good person on and off camera. Got a chance to talk with him a few times now. Love Ryan out there, man. A man of courage himself, dude. He was a Baltimore kid and moved out to the West Coast, just picked up his stuff and moved. Talk about a big mover, dude. Like Ryan's a big thinker. Love that guy. Yeah, I gotta get Ryan back on. Okay. Fumble Clock says Declan Doyle sounds completely lost. Man, I don't see it, dude. I see somebody that dialed the hell in, like, but extra focused. I don't know. That's definitely me. So I felt like, honestly, Flock, I came away more impressed with Declan than anybody else, to the point where I was like, man, I would have had a hard time not hiring that guy as head coach, because I feel like you'll have a good offense till he's in his 60s, and like I'll be long gone before that guy gets shown the door. That's how yeah. And Fumble Flock said he's going to fail miserably. All right, well, we will see. I hope you're wrong. I'm sure you hope you're wrong as well. Yeah, but that's great, dude. I love that. Okay. Fumble Flock is a Bears fan. But yeah, hey, who knows? He says he's not a Bears fan. He lives in Maryland. All right, love it. All right. Okay, here we go. Coach Weaver. Now, when Mentor was asked about Weaver, he said he knows what it means to be a Raven. Once again, Alec, leader, connector, relationship builder. And he said that later again that how important leadership was to him in a defensive coordinator when he was trying to choose which defensive coordinator to pick from, because he knows he's not going to be in that room all the time. So he needed an alpha dog in that room. And there's no doubt about it. Coach Weaver, alpha dog, connector, leader, relationship builder. Of course, Weaver was here in 2023. The last time the Ravens had a great defense was that Triple Crown season, led the league in sacks, takeaways, and points allowed. Travis Jones is still here from that team. Kyle Hamilton's still here from that team. So they're familiar with Coach Weaver. He just took a 2-year hiatus. But yeah, running the defensive room, installing the game plan. Coach Minter also said that him and Anthony Weaver run a similar system. So there's not a lot of disconnect, a lot of connection with Anthony Weaver and this organization.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was talking about earlier, he's like obviously interviewed as a finalist for this position as head coach. Mentioned that he was genuinely disappointed about not getting the job, but it's not a consolation prize. I do think he looks at it that way. I thought one of the biggest things maybe you have as one of your pool quotes is like, he's here to serve. And that struck me the right way. Football's family. I don't know. He like was the nice, like, I don't know, not calming presence, but he's just like that relatable, like he's going to bring a lot of, what it means to be a Raven, maintain the culture. Him and Levine having both been here as players and now as coaches. I like that, like little bit of continuity. And I definitely, though, I like what you said about understanding like he's not always be in the meeting room, and like he needs somebody who can drive home his message.
That's right.
And I think it is reassuring, that they I guess, similarly to how he talked about Declan, they see football the same way, that he feels confident he can be a communicator of his message. He's not going to mess it up or like whatever. And I'm over here just wondering how long we'll have Weaver, right? I truly do believe he'll be promoted away from this job, and it's just a matter of when.
I would like to think so, but I also know how the National Football League works. Not to get too political on here, but a lot of good black coaches have been passed over for opportunities in the National Football League. That's just a fact.
Plus
Tomlin, Tomlin stepped down. 0 black head coaches were hired this coaching cycle. That's just another fact. Brian Flores, of course, Flores has a lot going on with the league, and so I can kind of understand that. But selfishly, I hope Anthony Weaver stays on, does a great job for as long as possible. But what I really would like to see for a loyal guy like Anthony Weaver, a true Raven like Anthony Weaver, somebody that's just so easy to root for, is I hope he gets his chance to be a coach somewhere else. But I like to try to stay away, keep it a fun, happy show, and just informative and talk. Keep it football. But that is football, man. It's a social issue in the game. So maybe Anthony Weaver is here. My prediction though was 2 years in Anthony Weaver and he's gone. I worry more about Declan Doyle when I see that guy, man. If he's as much of a genius as Sean Payton offense has and what Ben Johnson is, they're going to want him, because like from a leadership role, what I saw today, I didn't see a 29-year-old who was new at this. He just looked like football is his life and he was true to it. So Go ahead.
I made this comparison about Weaver to one of my coworkers today, and now I'm thinking, based on what we had, the conversation we had about Declan, that it could end up being both or similar. But like I was joking with him, yeah, man, like hopefully they go and they win the Super Bowl this year, and I hope that we get to keep Weaver around. But it wouldn't surprise me if he's the Clint Kubiak of the cycle, where he already has a job, like it's his last, like the Super Bowl is his last game coaching, for the Ravens or whatever. And I can see that with Declan too. If he's like on fire, if this offense is on fire, and doing well in the playoffs, shoot, he might end up being gone 1 year.
The only thing with Declan is like any success that he has, they'll just say, well, he had Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So, he does get that knock against him. But back to Coach Weaver, though. Again, this is like just a typical what I would expect to hear from Anthony Weaver. He was asked about, hey, like there was a lady reporter, I'm not sure who it was, but basically it was like, Anthony, he had just gotten a question asked about being passed over for the defensive coordinator job. And then whoever it was asked him, hey, you came to Baltimore, you were calling plays. Now you're not calling plays. What's up with that? And he's like, look, the defensive coordinator in Baltimore is the main defensive coordinator in the National Football League. Didn't say NFL, spelled the whole thing out. So again, Anthony Weaver, like the prestige that comes with being the Ravens head coach. This is like Weaver is a Notre Dame, like prototypical Notre Dame grad. All the players, like think Kyle Hamilton, Ronnie Stanley, players around the league, like there's something to these Notre Dame guys where they don't always take the easy way. They want the prestige. They want to be pushed. Anthony Weaver wants to bring greatness back to this organization. He mentioned he wants that Super Bowl ring. He wants to come back like the 2000 team did last year for that 25th anniversary. He wants to be a part of a Super Bowl champion, part of the reason that he, came to Baltimore.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. It is funny how it's like every on the fives, the team has troubles. Those major year anniversaries. Anyways, but yeah, man, I definitely like the fact that he talked about the position the way he did. I think it's been that way for a long time. Like what he said about being the head or the defensive coach for the Ravens is like a top job. And frankly, just want to bring that back. I love the way he talks about the position too, the reverence of it. It was unique. I think it was unique.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things I liked about his part of the presser is how he was very raw as well, and just very, to the point. Like like sometimes he had these rehearsed answers, so to speak, but at the same time, he just he seems so present in the moment and grateful where he is at right now, and very grounded. And I think that's going to be a good thing for the defense. I really do. Like what he brings. I thought it was interesting they brought up the comment about when Orr got their job over him, right? And how like he said that was a question for Harbs and things of that nature. But I thought I'm on the record on my show, back then. I thought it was in the bag for Weaver. I was stunned when he didn't get it. And now it's like, okay, we're doing that now.
We're doing that now.
Yeah. So
hey, maybe it was meant to be, Alec. Maybe it wasn't going to happen under Harbaugh, and Weaver, could have gone down with Harbaugh's staff. It could be in New York. So, maybe it's just the plan. The plan was the plan, and Weaver's here now. More Weaver conferences, please. Tila, you're saying that now, but when the defense struggles for a couple of weeks, and Anthony Weaver gets up there and says the same thing he did last week, he's going to get on their nerves. That's the beautiful part about all these coaches is that Doyle's going to get on our nerves. Minter's going to get on our nerves. Weaver's going to get on our nerves. We're going to tell Levine the special teams should be better because that's what being a football fan is all about. So, yeah, man, it's just funny thinking about that. Now it's the honeymoon phase, Alec. Everything just sounds so new and fresh.
Yeah.
And can't wait. These guys haven't lost a game, man.
Except for Fumble Flock. He seems really upset.
Well, yeah.
But hey, Jake Vogel in the house. How about that? Is that cool?
Hey, my buddy Jake. Look, he's still got the guitar in there. Jake, by the way, a master brewer, a brewer. Last I saw, maybe he's got new jobs now. But Jake knows a thing or two, Alec, about making some cold beverages, bro. So he's got that on you for sure, man. Yeah, Jake in the brewery. Love Jake Vogel. Give him a follow on Twitter if you haven't. He says, agreed. Weaver is awesome. So well spoken. I think he'd be a great fit as DC undermanager. Yeah, he's gonna be fine. And you got two minds there, Jesse. I mean, there's no doubt Jesse was hired for the X's and O's, so it's Jesse's show. Yeah, it's just going to be Weaver's going to help carry out that message. So that's awesome. And Jake, yeah, I said within 2 years. So I said, yeah, I say 20, 27, 28. Agreed, bro. Agreed. And yeah, Mike Flock, apparently Anthony Weaver is popular with the ladies here in our family, Alec, with his voice. Yeah, I'm reading the comments. Chris, you better behave yourself in there, especially actually no. Go ahead, Chris, do your thing. So yeah, it's pretty funny. Weaver on holding leads. I thought this answer wasn't sure how I felt about it. It made sense, but to me, it's not practical. And basically, his thing was like, you play to the level that your standards are. Basically, like our basic level, like we can always fall back on our standards. He said, when it comes to protecting a lead in the fourth quarter, it's not going to be like, hey, let's turn it up a notch. Well, what were you doing the first 3 quarters? If you have to turn it up a notch. And Alec, that sounds good. Look, hey, we're not going to play any harder. We're not going to press. We're just going to play our game. But that's not the natural. I mean, I think in any game, like any of us don't have to be pro athletes to know that, things get tight when the game's on the line. When it's down to the last few seconds, you need to make a shot or you need to strike somebody out. You reach back, you get a little extra velocity on that fastball. So I wasn't sure about this answer. He's basically like, look, we're going to play at the same level all 4 quarters. I feel like sometimes in the fourth quarter, you got to turn it up a notch. But I understand the answer at the same time.
Yeah, well said. I think not much to add on to that. Frankly, it was, it's one of those stereotypical answers that, like, I think I would almost like, it was not one of the ones that gave a good answer, right? Like, I think that it's tough. Like, yeah, you said it's incongruous with like how actually like people are. I think the big thing though is you can spin it a different way. And I think this is the way I would have spun it. Is like,
okay,
they played their standard for 3 quarters. Keep it up. Like, don't overthink it. Like,
keep doing what we're doing. Keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah,
Right.
and like I think that was his first part of like you played to your standards. Like, I think if you just if you're having success already, you turn it up when you're not having success. But if you're having success, it's stay grounded, stay focused, stay like within the defense. So much about defense, man, is just like actually doing what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Don't play hero. Like, do your assignment. Make sure everyone can trust
in your
each other.
gap integrity. Right.
Everyone's trusts each other. Everyone's doing their job. It works so well, right? And
Right.
I think that's like the biggest thing. So I think the biggest thing in the fourth quarter is like, particularly, if they have a lead and they've been playing well, just keep doing that, and I think there is something to be said about it's tough, right? Offenses start taking bigger shots when they're desperate, right? And they start playing differently. So there is a little bit of give and take of like, you now need to adjust to that. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think it was a bad answer. I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about that. So I wanted to pull out, that's just some honest feedback on that. This one though, Weaver always gives you something, like anytime he talks, even when he was the D-line coach being called up there. Once a press conference, like the ladies think they get excited when they hear Anthony Weaver. I also get excited when I hear Anthony Weaver, just for maybe slightly different reasons. He said that in his rookie year, they had a T-shirt that said, "It's better to be feared than loved." Typical Raven slogan. That's pre-Harbaugh. That's Brian Billick right there. It's better to be feared than loved. And then he said, I'll try to turn on my Anthony Weaver voice here, Alec. It's about how we play. Flying around to the ball. 11 guys connected. They're in a flow state. Play like a pack of wolves. It looks like we have 13 guys out there, right? That's how we're going to play Ravens defense. So that's my Anthony Weaver impression. Of course, I have a weak, nasally, geeky voice, so I can't really do it. But yeah, that was the quote that I pulled from Mr. Weaver. It got me fired up. Put me in, coach. I see the master plan. It's fantastical. Just put me in there and tell me to go sick them. Who do I need to cover on the kickoff, Coach Weaver? Just let me know.
Pack of wolves. I do like that. That's one of the big compliments that Mikey Mack's defense has, is that everyone's playing so well together that it looks like 13 guys out there. And glad to see, that notion coming back up. Not that it's like unique, right? Like that's a classic thing to say about a defense, but it's true. It's true. And I think Better to be feared than loved. Dude, there is a little bit of a hard ass mentality coming out here. Like the physicality that Declan talked about, the physicality that that Weaver talks about. It's a different tone. It's a different tenor. Frankly, than what we've been seeing for years.
I mean, dude, proof will be in the pudding. Zach talked a good game too about being physical. Like, well, what I've noticed about Doyle though is like even more than Monken, even with this outside zone scheme that we seem to be pivoting to with the heavy usage in Detroit, the heavy usage that Dwayne Ledford had in Atlanta, Sean Payton, the outside zone guy, is that like that Bears team last year with Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle put together those game plans. They were a physical group, man. They really were. They played like Declan Doyle was talking about. Defensively, I have no doubt about it. We can play more physical if our eyes are in the right place. That's the problem. We weren't well coached under Zach. Guys didn't trust each other. Guys didn't know where each other were. There were open gaps at times. It's hard to play fast and physical when you're hesitant, Alec. So just Minter's, presence, Coach Weaver's presence will help us be a more physical defense. And then on offense, it just looked like a stable of those Ben Johnson teams. The trick plays as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I got to get more teeth, Mike,
That's true.
to do the Weaver. Yeah, I did.
Dude, that guy has got the pearliest of whites, and like he is the big smile. It's awesome.
Tyler's got the veneer though, the veneers.
Yeah.
The best teeth on the team, Tyler Huntley, even though they're probably not his teeth. Yeah, and Jim's pointing out Bears revamped their O-line before last season. They had the horses. They did. And they got it relatively cheap. I mean, they got a new left guard, center, and right guard all in one offseason, James. So that's the point. Like, we have to put an emphasis on that. And I wonder if Declan Doyle brings that. Be like, look, I could run what I ran because we had a Joe Thuney and the other two guys whose names I haven't remembered. But, yeah, they replaced all three interior O-linemen, the Bears did. And that made all the difference. They had Darnell Wright. Their left tackle was pretty good. They just needed a new interior. Replaced it all in one season. That had a lot of success. And Caleb is probably, he's going to be a good quarterback in this league. He's no Lamar Jackson, Alec.
Who is?
Nobody. Caleb Williams, though, is what I was talking about.
No, I know. I know who you said. I'm just saying.
Okay.
No one is. Yeah.
So lastly, but not leastly, we'll talk about a man that yours truly, Alec, believe it or not, delivered his mail back in 2014 and 15, the new special teams coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, who used to live in this little apartment complex in Pikesville, Maryland. And now look at him, man. 10-year NFL vet, just all around solid guy, motivator. Anthony Levine Sr. He was just Anthony Levine back then, living in that little apartment, man. It's just come a long way. So I've always liked Levine for that. And what Minter had to say about Levine is, I just picture him as the face of Baltimore special teams. He also said that Levine has earned the right to be in this position, that he just didn't name somebody to keep continuity, that Anthony knows his special teams. And, my comment on this, Alec, is guys don't want to play special teams. They want to play on the offense. They want to play on the defense. They've been stars at their high school. They've been stars at the college level. I mean, think of like a Keon Martin or a Keandre Jackson, and they're coming to the NFL. And man, if you don't play special teams, like Levine told the story, Ozzie told him, I pay you to play special teams. So I love the fact that Levine, is a special teams nerd of sorts. It's what he did. It's what he made his career on, but also that he can get through to the guys, tell his story, and make it about them. And just be like, look, this is what you have to do to get on that field. And Levine played a lot of dime backer and had some good years on defense. But the reason he got the chance to do that, Alec, is because he was co-cap. He was the special teams captain.
Correct. And I think it's a good mentality to have out of your special teams coordinator is, just talking about how you can make your opportunities on offense or defense because of the way you played on special teams and being available, right? You will be the next man up. I do think he's also a nice example, like you said, as a dime back who made more of the situation. Excuse me. and he offered something to the team. I think that's a goal for everybody involved, but he's a model and example of it. And frankly, like at this moment, if Keandre, who came to the presser for him, can turn into a player like Levine was, as far as on the defensive side, that'll be a huge help for this team. Something that they could use. So, yeah, I think he's a great pick. I love the way that he was presented by Jesse, like you said, that he earned it and he wasn't just gifted to him. I think that's true. And I also think that I was glad that we were able to keep him. I was a little concerned when we lost Horton that we might lose Levine and the kicking coach and a lot of that infrastructure, which I think is a little underrated. Not a lot underrated, but a little underrated, right? And it looks like that's been all maintained. So I think that's a really good thing.
Me, I wasn't disappointed to lose Chris Horton. I wasn't a big Chris Horton fan. I thought our special teams were just kind of blah, blah, with the emphasis that Coach Harbaugh put on special teams and having special teams active. I would expect us to be a perennial top 10 special teams team in all 4 phases, and it just never seemed to be that. So nothing against Chris Horton. I can't tell you I'm a special teams expert or anything, but I would just say it was blah, blah. Maybe Levine can insert that energy that we need. And you mentioned Keandre Jackson flew here. Levine said it spoke to the connection that I have, speaks to the connection I have with these guys. They understand the standard. They understand the culture. By the way, the Keandre Jackson highlight film, a lot of people watch that one compared to some other ones, and it's all special teams highlights, but you can see this guy run and hit. You can see his work as a gunner. There's only really Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton, and Keandre Jackson are the only 3 safeties on the team. And of course, Kyle is going to be playing nickel and dime linebacker and all over the place. So yeah, Keandre's got an inside track here, especially with Levine's connection, to really make some noise and make some plays in the preseason. And I thought he played safety really well in the preseason last year. I mentioned him to Sarah when we did the roster show and said, Keandre Jackson isn't going to make the roster, but don't be surprised if he makes the practice squad. He had a really good preseason. And here he is, man, like making a name for himself last year.
Agreed. And then kind of talk about Horton a little bit. I wasn't so much worried about losing Horton as much as I was getting the whole staff bled dry. I was a little worried about losing the whole staff. But yeah, definitely I agree. Yeah, Jake, that was what I was trying to say. I think you summarized it quite nicely. And I think it's something that I'm curious to see. We talked about it a little bit 2 weeks ago, like the roster construction. Now that Harbaugh's gone, as far as will there be as much emphasis on a special teams guy, or is there going to be more guys to play that have roles as well in defense and offense? And I think it's going to be more of the latter, where these guys are going to get weighed much more about what they can contribute to their actual side of the ball, but then also have a guy like CoCap. See, I think it's like the classic thing, keep the good players around for offense and defense, have an elevator like CoCap to make them good at special teams and focus on that and care about that.
Right. Like Malachi Starks played a lot of special teams last year. People don't understand that. Like Malachi played 100% snaps basically on defense, not literally, but basically every snap on defense, and was on the punt coverage team, I believe Malachi was. So yeah, man, like you're saying, the guys can do more. It's about getting them to buy in to do more. I mean, we're going to have probably a new tight end or 2 next year that can play special teams. Maybe a young edge player that can play special teams. We mentioned the safety room is empty. We're probably going to have to add a new corner. All those guys, whether they're first, second, third round guys, are going to have to contribute if we want to get, like what you're talking about, Alec, the best players on offense and defense who also are great on special teams.
For sure. And yeah, you'll always see that the young guys, circling in on special teams as an early part of their contributions. And hey, it's a good way to make a roster. I'm not saying that the people won't make it. You can edge out other guys because of the way you play on special teams. And it's also, I think special teams is underrated place to make turnovers. I don't have the stat, but I have to imagine from the percentage of plays that our special team snaps are so low. The amount of turnovers on them it has to be much higher than defensive snaps.
Right. Yeah, because you're not playing very many special team snaps. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, great players. I mean, shoot, who was it? Which Hall of Famer made his name on special teams, made a big hit, and then became Hall of Fame running back? I'm forgetting who that was. Yeah, Ed Reed, J Dub
yeah,
coming
legend.
in. Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. It's it's about want to. Yeah, defensive special teams, mainly those coverage units for easy. That's, I mean, the ladies were mentioning it just a little above in the chat, but I didn't feel like I don't know, man. Like, again, I didn't feel like we went above and beyond. Keandre was awesome on special teams. Keon was awesome on special teams, but like I didn't see it from a lot of the guys. And again, I don't follow special teams uh, closely. The rules have just changed. I do follow them, but I'm not an expert in it. I would just expect us to under Harbaugh to completely outperform the other guys on special teams. The last quote I have on Levine, poor Anthony didn't get to talk a lot. No fault of his own. Their coaches, the reporters want to ask him what's up on offense and defense. But he gave a shout out to Jameel McLean. Never forget the hit Jameel McLean put on Heath Miller. That hit. If you guys remember that, it's probably around 2009-ish, 2010-ish. That's when I first started to realize, Alec, that the people who are making these rules to protect the players might be onto something, because I didn't know if Heath Miller was going to get up after Jameel McLean laid the tight end out in a Ravens Steelers game. He actually looked like he was like stuff was coming out of his mouth, like foaming at the mouth almost. Like that Jameel McLean could hit. That's my memory of him. Jerry Rosberg, talk about when our special teams was great, was when Jerry Rosberg was around, so Levine can pull from him. And of course, the inspirational OJ Brigance. I know ALS is a call as close to your heart, Alec. He was talking about texting back and forth with OJ, talking about special teams. So again, like this is instilled in Levine. I just wanted to pull some kind of other quote, but it's really nothing we haven't talked about already.
Yeah, man. It is cool that he has those connections, those long time connections. Definitely cool that you delivered his mail. I guess you never ran into him in an apartment complex, though.
No.
Yeah.
And it was Sadi B. Thank you, bro. It was Terrell Davis that made a big hit on special teams. Yes.
Dude, that guy's a unit. I imagine.
Thank you, Sadi. Hey, good seeing you over here, man. I recognize you from different places, Twitter and such. So it's great to see you. Thanks, Sadi. I appreciate you, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, and somebody else mentioned it too, Justin Phillips. So thank you to those who don't usually type. Yeah, Terrell Davis. Thanks for reading my mind, guys.
All right, Heather, and also good night to you. Head to bed.
I get that. Head to bed. Yeah. Sorry for not acknowledging you earlier. So yeah, that's funny.
What else? Oh yeah, I was disappointed the way he was cut off. Was that Big Bad Chad? Was that?
I don't remember. I didn't know. They're saying he was cut off by a PR guy, but I thought it was another reporter stepping in and asking a question. But I could be wrong.
I thought it might have been a reporter too. I don't know if it was Big Bad Chad, but I like to. We haven't brought that up. I don't know in public talking about Big Bad Chad. So
yeah,
just throw that one out there. Yeah. I don't know. They always get like the last bit, but it did rub me the wrong way when it was cut off. And yeah. I'm excited to hear him on Thursdays. Not Thursdays. They're usually Wednesday press conference. What or are they? No, they're Thursdays.
I mean, who knows now, brother?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, who knows?
It's all new setup. There might be coaches shows coming out. You might get a weekly Anthony Levine show or whatever.
Yeah, Declan's gonna want his own podcast so he can buff up that resume for his
let's pump the brakes on the podcasting. Okay, I'm still a little scarred from Marlowe, man. Remember when he did a pod with Jack Settleman? He had a terrible year. He did a pod this year. He had a terrible year. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. I think Marlowe should maybe give that up and go on the every other year program again. So, pattern, just recognizing the pattern there. That's all.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Couple of things on Coach Jesse Minter. Well, again, everybody calls Jesse. By the way, Jesse, I imagine we'll be getting some heat for wearing a hoodie with a It was like a blazer over top of it.
Yeah.
The colors didn't look like they matched. Again, that's why like when I looked at Declan Doyle, I'm like, man, I don't know, man. If I had an interview with that guy and that guy, I'm probably picking Declan Doyle. But I say that like jokingly. I'm happy with the Minter hire. But yeah, he deserves some heat, I think, for the hoodie and the blazer.
Yeah, man. What's going on in the fashion department right now with these guys? You got EDC who was wearing his like you know, I don't know, button down sweater situation during Minter's press conference. I don't know. These guys, they're all making fashion statements. But it is a classic move, this like suit with the hoodie. It's like a very football coach thing to do. I don't know. It is like a little goofy. I never done it before.
Yeah, no Max Crosby. He's got a podcast too. I might be willing to overlook that one. I would think.
Do you want to talk about that or no? You originally were all about talking about Mr. Max.
I mean, dude, there was just so much stuff in the press conference. But
yeah,
I mean, to me, when you talk about Max, I think that the plan for this offseason is clear. As a matter of fact, last week, Alec, I said book it in free agency, aka before the draft. You go out, you sign an edge player, and you sign a guard. And if you do that, you can go into the draft free. So yeah, I think I can present it here coming up soon. But if you look at what the team looks like right now, here it is. The two main spots are edge and a guard, the interior O line. Like if you started the season today, you could go with a cornerback room of Marlowe, Wiggins. You still got TJ Tampa. Your wide receiver room is okay. You got both tackles. You got 4 running backs. You got some wide receivers. Yeah, you need a safety, but is that really a priority where you want to spend most of your money? Probably not. When I look at this, chart of who's definitely coming back, I'm saying in free agency, you sign yourself a guard and you get yourself the best edge rusher possible. And that way, when the draft rolls around, Alec, you're pretty much drafting BPA. If the BPA is a wide receiver, fine, we'll take them. But you don't have to reach for a guard or you don't have to reach for an edge rusher. Those are the two spots that, like, if the draft was tomorrow, we'd have to reach and make sure we got a starting edge and a starting caliber guard for this season. Like if the season started in 2 days and we had to draft somebody today. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Alec. My prediction is on free agency is we sign a guard, sign an edge. And when it comes to Max Crosby, I'm looking at this draft and it's shame Heather checked out because this would have been one for her. If you had asked me to choose between getting Max Crosby and paying him $30 million a year or drafting whoever it is at 14 and having him on the cheap for 5 years, I'm to the point where I'd take Max Crosby. Because to me, there's not a Kyle Hamilton talent that's going to be close to dropping in this draft. I don't believe so. The best player might be a guard. The best player might be somebody who profiles as a top wide receiver 2 or a medium wide receiver 1. Like Kyle Hamilton, forget about what he's done since he's been here, Alec. He was one of the best safety prospects to come out in years.
Yeah, he was a stud. I
don't think you're going to find that at 14. So
we weren't supposed to find him at 14, right? Like he should have went earlier, right? Like, and it wasn't even a novel take, right? Like he was talked of like as a top 10 pick, and it's just no one did it, right? And he just fell right into our laps. I will say I'm against you on that with the first round pick, and I have not studied the draft to an extent, but it's just one of those things where like. I rather get Owe for like 20. Let's say Owe is 20. I'd rather have Owe for 20, a rookie for 4, and another guy for 6 all the time than Max. Sorry.
Okay. Dude, Minter's fit is getting the seal of approval from the family, bro. So yeah.
Dude, it's a look. It's a look. You know who else does it? Kyle Van Noy. He's notorious for that fit.
Chris, I see you. EDC does seem a little down and sad.
Truly, yeah.
Bro,
But yeah, man, I think Minter's gonna dial it up for the pass rush, right? Like it's one of those things where I'm not trying to take away stuff from him and not give him toys. I want him to have toys too, but I feel like you just don't need it as much.
All right. I'm saying, man, I believe in Max Crosby that much, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you add Max Crosby to Mike Green and Tavius Robinson, all of a sudden, yeah, our pass rush is good. Like, if you add Draymond to that group instead of Max Crosby, I feel like you still need help. I don't know. And again, I don't see like that 22 draft had some studs in it. This one, I just not feeling it, dude. Like, Caleb Downs is probably going to go before us. Do you really want to draft another safety? If he does fall, like the edge rusher Ruben Bain, he's got some questions. He's productive, but he is an outlier.
He's been mocked in the top 5. Like, I understand like why you think like I think he's the
Okay. So
I think
if
he's
a guy with 30-inch arms is mocked in the top 5, what does that tell you about this draft?
I know. What I'm saying too is I think if Bain made it to 14, dude, that'd be the closest to a Kyle Hamilton. Not trying to compare him to Kyle Hamilton, but like a guy who fell a little farther than maybe he should have. That's my thought on that. Based on what I don't know. Like I said, I actually don't watch these nerds, but I do know,
like Jeremiah Love, the running back, is probably the best prospect out of all of them, like at his position.
And he's gonna go to the Chiefs, dude. You can basically book it. They're gonna take him. If he's there, they're gonna take him. And if they don't, they're crazy. Because the fire's already started, man. They just need a little bit of gasoline.
So there you go. We're going to be looking at this chart as free agency and updating it. Of course, Matabike with the question mark. Poor Teddy coming off that knee injury. The mentor quote that I wanted to pull before we wrap it up, he was asked about Adafio Way, and this answered the question. And it was the answer, quite frankly, Alec, that I was talking about on the show with you. And we were talking about discussing it together this season. I believe Jerry Coleman asked him, how'd you get 7 sacks out of Adafio Way, and could he be a signing and for the Ravens? And of course, he deferred on the whether EDC does a good job. But as far as getting the sacks, he was like more freedom as a pass rusher. And that goes back to what we were saying. We had Mike Green, a speed rusher. Kyle Van Noy, a crafty rusher. Owe had just developed the speed and the spin move. The only bull rusher we had on that team was Tavius Robinson last year. Yet we were hell-bent. Harbaugh and Zach Orr were hell-bent on having our edge rushers bull rush, contain rush too. Not a straight bull as hard as you can. A bull rush with eyes on the quarterback. And it hindered. Like, Adafio Way is not known for his bull rush. Kyle Van Noy is not just bullying 300 and some pound left tackles. Like, Mike Green was a rookie. It was a total mismatch. So this made me excited for the future. Minter talking about, hey, we just, on my defense, I'm not afraid to turn my pass rushers loose. And I don't care if Mahomes is in the division or not. We slow him down too.
Yeah. I think it's a little underrated. How am I best put this? I think the value you might get out of a sack or the rush, like an effective pass rush, might be higher than what you lose in the ability for the quarterback to scramble and the ability that your running back might make it to level 2 because you weren't disciplined enough. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. And I don't think that rushing from the blind side, like when you turn your rushers loose, you just have you coach your linebackers up to be able to keep their eye on the quarterback scramble. It's not like contain or we're screwed. Like, you need to get pressure, some more than token pressure, just by bull rushing. And again, we didn't have it was a mismatch between the personnel we had and what we were, how they were being coached, because none of those guys are oversized edges that can bully people. So yeah, it just didn't make sense. Okay, so that's what we have for tonight's show. I have some more comments from Jesse Minter that we will just save for next week, and I want to get Dev's take on some of this stuff too. So, Alec, thank you very much. Sorry again for calling you or texting you while you were trying to put the baby to bed.
It's all good, man. She was supposed to be in bed already. Like I said, we have had a hectic few days, and she heard me doing some stuff downstairs with our neighbor, and she was like, "Wait, Daddy's back!" I'm like, rats. Yes, I am back. You're supposed to be asleep already.
No, I not, Daddy. I come see you, and then what are you gonna do, bro? You just
I know.
You're just gonna melt.
She's been like super duper whiny lately, but at the same time, like really cute with and like one of the things that, when she's talking, sometimes it's like they get you, man. They do get you.
I remember when my oldest one was, only had one kid, so he was a toddler, and we had the old baby gates, and I went into I was going to go into the kitchen I'm thinking make myself a drink or some food or something. So, we were playing and everything, and I was like, hold on, Daddy's got to, go make food or whatever I told him. And he was like, crying, and I'm like, no, you stay there. I'll be right back. And I turned my back, and I'll never forget it. Like, I can hear it in my head. He was like, Daddy. And I was like, oh, stay strong, Jason, stay strong. But like my instincts was to go run and like pick him up and stuff. But yeah, they can get you, man. They can get you with that.
Indeed.
Okay, so with that, I want to say thank you, my football family. Thanks for all the comments tonight. Y'all are hilarious. I can't wait to go back, read the comments. Thank you to the channel members down at the bottom. If you want to get a channel membership, it starts at only $2.99 a month. Again, I might start making some college cut-ups when I start getting ahead of these of my evaluations, and put them on like a Discord or something, Alex, so I don't get a strike for my channel. You have my channel canceled. But yeah, I got this Vega footage. I learned how to download it into my program, and I might cut it up. Might not do the circles, the purple circles, so I can.
Yeah,
do
he's
it
not
easily.
Raven yet.
Well, even if they were blue circles, it takes a ton of time to do those. So yeah, but thank you to everybody. Love you. And with that, please say good night to the people.
Good night, everybody. Football's family.
Football's family.